welcome back to Real Talk with REsimpli, where we get real about real estate, business, and everything in between. I am your host, Sinead Jordan.
And I'm Don Carlson. Sorry about that. Today's guest is somebody who's built a business around the most solid opportunity channels in real estate, inheritance and probate leads. So Micah Nicholes is the owner and CEO of US Lead List, where he helps investors across the country connect with motivated sellers through high quality pre-probate data. So he's not just a software guy, though. Micah has been in the game for over a decade, investing primarily in southwestern Wisconsin, doing everything from wholesaling to flipping to building his own rental portfolio.
Yeah, and what I love is that he's actually lived the ups and downs of this business, starting out in a W-2, fighting his way out through real estate, and now helping other investors find and close some of their most profitable deals through better lead sources. So, Micah, we're stoked to have you on today.
Guys, I'm blushing. That was overwhelming. Thanks.
I know.
No, I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys. I mean, you're way better than any other podcast at introducing me. So know that.
Well, we appreciate that. We like to butter you guys up so we get the most out of you. So,
check your Venmo, Micah. I think it's just
yeah. Fair enough.
Oh man. Well, let's dive right into it, Micah. Let's go back to the very beginning. What were you doing before real estate, and what was the moment where you said, "I've got to get out of this W-2 bull and figure something else out"?
Yeah. So I'm one of seven kids. My dad was a truck driver. We had nothing. We grew up, basically having to fend for ourselves. My first job was self-inflicted, and that was by putting electrodes into the ground. I don't know if you guys remember this, or this is a thing, probably not in California, but you put these electrodes in the ground, water it a little bit, maybe put some soap, and worms come up. I would take those worms and I would sell them to the bait shops. That was my first entrepreneurial experience at like 6, 7.
Shocking
That's
worms.
the worst. I'm sorry.
6, 7.
That was horrible. Anyway, so started there. I just bumbled through life. I was an awful student. I was horrible at taking directions, classic entrepreneurial style. And I met my wife and had 3 kids in succession, really young. My first kid was born in 22. My third was when I was 26. And all the while, I'm kind of cobbling things together, but mostly working at restaurants. I was selling, boutique French wine, but serving tables, bartending, doing that. And that was my grind. And really what the hardest thing was, like, I didn't get to be with my kids. Like, my work time was their, like, prime opportunity to hang out with my kids. And so that was a really big pain point. And so, around 14, 15, I just started, getting more and more interested in real estate. I was interested in it all the time. I just didn't have money. You know how they say, like, that first, 100,000's a bitch. Just like, you don't have money to invest, but you want to.
Yeah.
And so, you just, like, all the little sacrifices you make to, like, put money by so you can have a place to put it, or, have money to put into a place is what I'm trying to say. So that took a long time. Finally, 2015, I bought my first fourplex. That was back when you could find really good deals on the MLS. I found a fourplex for $52,000, and its gross, right? Its gross rents were like $1,800 or $1,900, and I'm like, holy crap! Like, this is half of my income that I'm making from working at, like, just trading time, and I got that with one acquisition. And so, a month later, I bought a 5-plex, leveraging some of the equity that I had gotten in that building, that first buy. And so, that was a similar deal. It was like, 3% gross rents were about 3% of the purchase price. And I was like, man, this is awesome. I just keep on doing this. But I didn't. I kind of stopped buying, and I worked on those. I took a very slow route from there. But that was kind of how I got started in real estate.
That's awesome. You mentioned, you're kind of talking about it now, that you, like, kind of fought your way into this business. Can you talk about, like, some of the, like, beyond just your first 2 deals, but some of your other deals that you did early on? What were some of the struggles? Did you ever want to quit? Like, what did what kept you going in this?
Yeah, no. I mean, certainly thought about quitting. Every great opportunity comes with struggle. I remember one of my tenants. I got a call from not her, but a different tenant saying, "Hey, there's a dead dog on the porch. Can you come take care of this?" I'm like, "What?" Like, just never thought I would get that call and like ever in my life. So I like
Few
call the
questions,
lady.
but okay.
Right. So like this gal, I try and call her. I'm just like trying to figure out what's going on, and it's wintertime here in Wisconsin. And eventually, I just had to drive there. So I drove there. It's half an hour away from my house. I get to the door, to the porch, and there's a frozen dog in a box on the porch of this building, and it's communal. It was a fiveplex, but everyone goes in and out like right there. Just like, what, f my life. Like, what are we doing here? So I go up and knock on her door, and she's just like, "Yeah, my dog died. I don't know what to do with it. Why are you making a big deal out of this?" Is how she responding. Like, this
What?
is just.
I'm a landlord. This is not pet disposal services.
That's right. So like, this is crazy.
It's not in the lease.
Exactly. I never thought to spell that out.
I
Provisions
cover utilities. This is not what I mean by that. Oh man, that's crazy.
So after bantering with her for a minute, she's just like, "Yeah, okay, fine, I'll take care of it." And so she does. She takes care of it.
This is going.
And she puts it in the back of her car. And so like I see it, like I'm walking by, I'm fixing something, and she's got the dead dog just still in the same box in the back of her car. And I'm just like, so again, I like just general concern. I'm like, "What are you doing? Like, why aren't you like?" She's like, "Well, normally we would just dig a hole, but the ground's frozen," and she didn't want to pay to have it, burned and cremated or something like that. So she waited until the frost, ebbed, and eventually buried said dog. So anyway, during that, I'm like, I don't know if this is right for me. I just feel like
rentals have their challenges. The rentals do.
No doubt. So, I mean, that's more of a joke. I think the hard part was, initially, like I said, I had 3 kids. I had a W-2. I was making okay money, but I basically all the income I was just folding straight back into the property. So it's just trying to make them better, improve rents, and sometimes that meant it was eating into my own finances. And like that struggle is real. Like honestly, it's probably harder now for folks to go through that process with inflation. Just like the cost of living is higher. W-2 wages hasn't increased in the same amount that inflation has eaten away at our currency. And so I guess just for anyone listening, like just acknowledging that like getting through that cycle is super hard, and it takes grit and it takes a lot of personal sacrifice. So what did that mean? That meant that whatever, we ate rice and beans, like that was it. Like that was our diet. My kids didn't really know. And then there's all the hidden costs of like being unsociable, not like having money to go out to eat, not kind of going to the bar with the boys because you don't have money, or you have a better place to put your money. Anyway, so I think those were the toughest things that you really it's a choice, right? You can hustle's a season. Yep. You can take the hit for a certain amount of time, and then you can move on. And it's funny. It's just full circle moment. Is that I actually sold those 2 properties to buy this business, U.S. Lead List, during COVID. And so a friend of mine, I didn't list him or anything. I just sold them to him at a decent price. And that was what kind of propelled me into doing, here I am now, which, running a business has its own problems, and like, that's not all rosy, but it certainly is really cool. I get to hang out with, people like you guys. I have customers like all over the US that I get to have a piece and voice in their business. And it's really gratifying, satisfying, because my job as a lead provider is to help make people rich. It's to change their lives. And the better that I can do that, the more I tangibly affect their finances. And that's crazy satisfying.
I love that. I love that. I feel like I mean, definitely have some synergy with that because, with REsimpli, I mean, our whole tagline is, helping investors close more deals. So
Hmm.
it is incredibly satisfying. I love getting calls from, clients that are like, hey, I had this one lead on a drip campaign for 473 days and, finally got it under contract or whatever. And
Totally.
it's super rad. So, all right. So you've done deals, you've built a business, you've got US lead list. What do you think was the actual turning point from just, doing the things to being what investors need to optimize their lead flow, if that makes sense?
Well, let me just
Was it
clarify. So
actually the
you,
purchase of US lead list, or was there a different moment in time that you were like, wow, this is really cool. I'm really changing people's lives here.
no, I mean, it wasn't even actually when I purchased US Lead. It was like, um, business acquisition is its own, it's kind of like real estate, but it's a lot more risky and a lot more things can go wrong. There's a lot more things you can't really see. And so it took a while of just struggling, like, oh, am I going to have to give back my house if this business failed? Stuff like that, like questions like, um, trying to explain to my wife, like, hey, this is a reality. I know we talked about this kind of when I was all rosy eyed, but anyway, so, you kind of have to, in the same way you fight for a real estate business, you fight for any business. And so, things weren't great. We were coming out of COVID when I bought this business. And so everything was super strong going into COVID. You know, purchase property that you had under contract, you could sell over asking. And so like all of our clients and our client base and our residual income, it was like all growing, and that was awesome. And then, kind of the market shifted and turned, and it got harder to market as we kind of hit that climax in COVID. And then all of a sudden, like my customer base just started getting, they were starting to feel the pain before anyone else, because their marketing wasn't working because there was so much saturation in the marketplace. Anyway, so I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh gosh, the Tower of Pisa is falling. Here we go. And so whatever, we pivot, we work it out. We figure out other ways to grow, and it all ended up being amazing. But it wasn't until all of like, what my personal safety or my personal financial bubble, what felt safe, that I could really get excited about other people again. It's I think all of us understand. It's like until you feel safe, you can't really recognize the greater fruit of going outside of yourself and helping
Sure.
someone else. And so once I started feeling safe again, and that was a couple of years in, I'm like, man, this is really good. The better that I am at my job, the more I can. It's like, and don't get me wrong, like data is this very commoditized thing. We charge a lot for what our data is because a lot goes into it, but the more that I help people utilize this and do a good job, and I'm sure very much with how you guys operate your business, just the dominoes start falling, and people really can make lateral moves in their lives that make a difference. Not on a, I don't know, like personal net worth, like all those are cool things. But I think for the people that like I care most about are like the ones who are like literally struggling to get by, and all of a sudden they go from this place of lack and the
Scarcity.
have-nots,
Yeah.
to some form of just feeling safe. And it doesn't even have to be abundant yet. It's just like, oh, I can sustain upon my own efforts and do something good and contribute to this world. After that, it turns into an ego game really quickly, which I'm personally not that interested in.
No, for sure. I wanna. You said a couple things like in your story. I mean, one, like just the game of entrepreneurship. Whether you are a real estate investor, owning business, like it's one of the hardest games out there. And like people don't. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna be an entrepreneur. It's like, are you ready for the hellscape that you what you're signing up for? Like I've heard it. The best way to describe it is like no man's land, kind of like in the beginning, like you don't have money to go out with the boys or rice and beans. I had my favorite struggle meal when we were just starting out, fish stick tacos, and we get the fish sticks from Costco, man. They're like $10. Throw some cabbage, ranch dressing, ratchet though. But like, again, we were in
that actually sounds really good.
I was going to say, honestly, that sounds pretty tasty.
Yeah, it is.
I'm coming over to Don's house for fish stick tacos.
Dude. Like,
game on.
Again, we may not have money, but my wife and I have always eaten well. So thanks to YouTube and all this stuff. But yeah, like that no man's land period where it's like you're getting out of the group that you were like a part of, your high school buddies, college buddies, like just on a different trajectory. But like you're not yet at the place that you can like hang out and like be with like the bigger fish. Like you haven't like earned that yet. So there's that point in time where it's just like nothing's going on, like except building your business, like you said, the hustle season. So if you got to listeners, to you listening to this, if you're going through that, know that is a natural period of from the start to like the gap in the gain, if you will. So to getting to that safety. So just throwing that out there.
Absolutely.
But kind of taking love hearing about our guest stories too. That's awesome. Funny enough, I actually, one career path that I was thinking about was becoming a sommelier and selling French wine, but as a choice.
No way.
Aren't you still, Don? Didn't you say you're thinking about taking the test or whatever? Didn't you tell me that recently?
I still want to, again, with everything that we're all the cool things we got going on REsimpli and in my own wholesaling and flipping business. Haven't really had time to study because it's pretty intensive, but I do want to get my intro and then my level 1 Somm cert. So
but at least you can afford the good French wine now, or at least just more than you could. French wine's expensive. Good French wine is crazy.
100%. You know what's been great, and Shanae, you'll love this. Trader Joe's is just
amen.
They are solid.
Like the wine selection there is fantastic. We're gonna get to systems and processes and how you can make money. Like, give me 1 second. Like you can't buy old world wine for like $6 a bottle like anywhere else. So just So I was just
totally with you.
That. But anyway, now back to our regular scheduled programming. Starting with marketing. Why do you like probate and inheritance deals?
It's funny. I wouldn't have as much of an opinion, but like I bought this company, right? So it's like before this, I was doing whatever. Craigslist was my favorite. I did quite a few deals.
Wow.
I know. So I did a bunch of deals just on Craigslist, just people looking to sell. That worked great. Any channel is good so long as you take enough effort and get traction. But
it all works.
So it all works. It's just effort, consistency. But here's what I like about probate inheritance is that it takes a good amount of tact. And people are like normally bad at this, right? It's awkward. How do you talk to someone who knowing that someone just died, or like how do you
your dad died? I know you need to sell this house, so just might as well sell it to me.
Well, so it's so apt. Like literally, I was in Portland. I mentioned that to you guys right before the show, and my dad did just die. My dad died 3 months ago, and we're going through all the motions, like cleaning out his house, good, like all the things. Probate started. And like all my whole family, they're like, Micah, so you're in charge of monetizing this house. Like, that's your job. I'm like, fine. I do it all the time. That's no big deal. But kind of like what you said, it's like your dad died. Like, I'm going to make money from this awful thing that happened to you. And so how do you approach that? Because that, logistically, that's the play. Like, that's what we're doing. That's what I do all the time. That's what I help people do all the time. And so I like it because it's, there's a lot of like kind of psychological warfare wrapped into that. And I think that if you're approaching it the wrong way, you miss most of the opportunity. And what I think the right way is, because there's, a bunch of ways that you can work it, and all of them will have some success points. But for me, what makes the most sense is there is no opportunity unless you first just genuinely care. So if you don't genuinely care about the person, and I'm not talking about genuinely care about money, you have to care, and they have to tangibly be able to feel that. So when you have a lead, when you have a incoming call, outbound call, text, whatever it is, if they can't tell that you give a shit, then you're probably wasting your time, and you should just focus on PPL or PPC, or go some other channel where you can just offer a price and hopefully there's no competition. And so I think that is the biggest thing, because naturally I'm an empath. I consider other people's emotions. I like to observe them. I like observing people, the human condition in it. And I think that for me, that's one of my superpowers that I didn't realize. And it's been really helpful in navigating these really hard, awkward situations. So I think that's why I really like it. It's this kind of void that everyone knows about. It's an opportunity, but not very many people know how to integrate with and work through the emotions in a way that it produces win-wins.
Yeah, I mean, for that lead story, well, me personally, I really like probate and inheritance, because there is a legitimate need. Like when like I pull from like having to move, I mean, I didn't have to, but my dad and his brother and sisters had to move my grandma out of that house into like assisted living. Like, she had a bad fall, so that was part of it. So, and at that, the house wasn't fixed up. It was, I mean, it was clean, but it was like old. This was also in
Right.
Grays Lake, like kind of close to the Wisconsin border. But like, there were like legitimate needs that had to be met, as far as like getting enough money for the house to pay for like assisted living and stuff like that. So like pulling from that, actually caring about the person and solving the problem at the end. And that's what makes a good wholesaler great, is just like focusing on the problem and solving that, whatever it is. The money will come. But there is a need, but there is tact that you have to have. But if you just active listen, care about the problem, like that will get you a long way. And then it's the person who they trust the most too. And then it's also, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna, to your point, it's like everyone's, at least, any business space right now, everyone's like, oh my God, AI this and AI that. It's like, guys, the people who we do business with are humans. It's like, yeah, like AI solves a bunch of logistical problems, but I promise that you pit me against any AI and I'm going to win, because I care more. I'm not programming. Exactly. Like all the things that to me right now, this is just a highly pertinent superpower that like people should be developing. They should be working on, how do they get someone to like them? How do they get someone to choose them over a higher offer? Can you do that? Like, man, if you mastered that skill, then like you could win in anything. Doesn't matter. AI is never going to take that away.
Yeah, this last week actually, I got one locked up. It was like a referral lead that came in from a deal I've done with her already. So trust was already built, but like it wasn't a probate situation, but they were moving their parents out of their house for like next stage of life kind of thing. And I was like $6,000 under some other joker that like just I was like $6,000 under, but I stuck to my price. And I'm like, I mean, like I am 100% sure we can get this done at this price. If you go any higher, it's a little iffy, but we'll close by Easter. Like those things are in place. And that went a long way too, with the certainty and the trust that I was able to build over time. So,
yeah. It's a relationship game. I mean, we say this all the time, but like, to our listeners, like we're going to keep saying it. It is a relationship game. And if you can't build that trust and you don't have that, that caring, empathetic, there's a word, then it's not going to work out for you very well. It's just not. These are people that have real problems that you're trying to solve. So
in any commodity-based business, whether it's mortgages, real estate agent, like you're not providing any different service as long as you do what you say you're going to do. So it really comes down to the person who's selling it or selling the solution. But kind of taking that aspect to, or that approach to it, what's your approach to market to these types of leads?
So for me, at least I use my own service. So how we work our data is that, it's not specifically probate. We align, death and real estate ownership. And so most of the time it's either surviving spouses or it's before probate started.
Mm-hmm.
And so pretty much, I don't acknowledge the death anywhere in any of my marketing at any stage.
Great point.
Unless someone, it's like, I don't know, like maybe other people feel differently. And I actually have clients who do this where there's like, they write the classic probate letter and I'm so sorry for your loss. And they just get shamed and anger calls and FUs and, like all the things. But here's the thing is that, because I was just like curious, like how does this work for you? And they're like, yeah, we get all of the hate. And then there's like this tiny demographic of people who genuinely feel like kind of like loved and respected, that they sent this really thoughtful message about something that happened to them. And they don't want to deal with their real estate and they do want this person to solve it. And so with those people, that it works with, it creates rapport and connection there. But that's like maybe 0.1% or something of total people. Everyone else are like, oh my God, this tactless, purse chasing a-hole, just sent me this letter. Can you believe it? They're posting it on their Facebook. Like, this guy is awful. Don't ever do business with it. I'm going to give him 1,000 negative reviews on Google, all those things.
0 stars if I could.
Yes. Yeah. So don't be that guy. At least, for me, like I'm a comfort driven person. And what part of what makes me feel comfortable is just genuinely being able to help. So I've found that I can't really help if I send marketing messages like that. I basically treat them exactly the same as I would other campaigns, with the exception of like my opening letter. I do a lot of direct mail. I love direct mail to this specific group. It's a really good way. That's not the only thing I do. I do cold email, and then we also do cold calling. But my opening letter, which has made me so much money, and it's so simple, is I just say, hey, I have a question about your property. Can you give me a call? I drop my number. That's it. It's in I've got one right here. I don't know if people can see this video, but it's in a nice, A2 envelope. It looks like something from a Hallmark aisle with a real decorative stamp and a handwritten font. And my response rate in Wisconsin averages around 10%.
Whoa.
To that letter. It's insane. So, and then last month we did that campaign with that letter, because I'll send successive, but we had a 2% lead rate on that letter,
that's huge.
That's madness. Like, that's normally what people's response rate is.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to how you treat them. So people get on the phone and are like, what's your question? Or like, yeah, did you like my landscaping? Is that what you're going to call about? People, it's really funny, the responses you get.
Midwesterners and their lawns, man.
Seriously, you know it. Oh, man.
What would you
crystallized it all.
The FI
fib.
Yeah.
I'm blushing.
Google
again.
it, guys. Talking smack before the call. He's not that nice, guys. He's from Wisconsin. He's not that nice. No, he's great.
Oh, amazing. So, it's cool because, you get these people on the line, and half of our job is to create candid, good conversations. And so many people are just like, they're trying to refine exactly what they think that they want, and they end up missing a lot of the mark. And yeah, I wouldn't recommend sending an entire, zip code that letter, have it be a very tight, someone who is going to sell. But, you get on the phone with these people and just ask questions. Don, you know, this is like, what's going on? How can you create rapport? How do you get people to like you? So many people miss the point that if someone asks you a series of questions that has nothing to do with them and only to do with you, you can get someone to run their mouth for 10, 15, 20 minutes and literally spill all of their beans. And as a wholesaler, a real estate investor, they're giving you gold nugget after gold nugget. So every single problem to solve, and you put that into your offer and part of your pitch, and all of a sudden you're a hero. This isn't, that works on any lead source. You could close anyone by doing that. but it just takes time. It takes effort, it takes caring. So
Yeah,
that's how I approach.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that's actually a great point, even just beyond the scope of probate inheritance, but like how to get people to like you, whether it's you're networking with buyers, you're talking with sellers, trying to get information out of them, like is asking those open-ended questions directed to them, not talking about yourself like at all. Again, we're very selfish creatures, like when it comes down to it. Like, so if someone's talking to you, asking questions, showing interest, that builds not just rapport but trust too. It's like showing you care about that person versus just like, oh, this is what I can do for you. It's like, well, what do you need?
Exactly. Right.
Nice. But yeah, what's your biggest win with implementing like that system of these leads? And actually, yeah,
like financially speaking, or like just like a deal landed, or what do you mean?
What's a great deal, maybe a recent win that you had with implementing like marketing to probates and leads like that?
So my favorite deal as of yet was this guy. He was, it's funny, their family actually owned the farm that is all of Western Madison, which is, the main metro where I live. And so they sold chunks off here and there bit by bit. And it was down to 2 houses, or there were 3 houses on a 4-acre plot, but it was like right in the middle of this super nice neighborhood. And his sister died. And so I sent him a letter, and he sent me a letter back, which is funny, so I wrote him a letter back, and I totally, yeah, that's exactly what happened. And so I didn't hear anything. I cold called the guy, and I door knocked the guy, and I door knocked the guy again. And the third time I door knocked this guy over, this was a kind of courting, going back, I guess it was one-way courting, for like three weeks. And I get in front of this guy, and I did exactly kind of what we just talked about. I asked him the questions. He's telling me about, his wife, and, how he loves God and how she's with him. And, he's just literally unfurling this whole story. And like, some of it's sad, and, he had just lost his sister. His wife had passed away years before, and he's ready to move on from this place. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to sell it, and he liked me, but he was a smart guy. He was sharp. He's like, what's your offer? I was just like, I think assessed value there were 3, like I said, 3 houses, a barn on 4 acres. And I think it was assessed at like 7, 5, something like that. I was like,
6, 7. No, I'm just kidding.
God, I know, it's the worst. It's like knee jerk. My teenagers' voices are coming through my mouth.
Don't do that. Don't. No.
So,
just kidding.
I think I offered him
back to the sad man.
I offered him $350,000, and he just laughs. And so I went through a series of I made like 9 pitches to him, just slowly increasing my offer. And as I got to the tail end of that, I was just like, this doesn't make sense anymore. Like, I needed to figure out like what I can actually do, because the monetary number that I was throwing out there didn't play for like fixing up these properties. And so I started talking with this developer buddy of mine, and he's just like, yeah, it's like conditional use for multifamily. Like, I bet we could get over 100 units on that. He's like, if you can, like, we would pay, this much. And so I made him a last pitch of $2 million for this 4 acres. And he said, yes. I got a year-long option to purchase. I think I had to put 200 in escrow. And so we worked through the city, got the engineering, got the, conditional rezoning, and they accepted zone. I think it was like 130 conditional zoning approval to build multifamily on this thing. Once that happened, then I sold it to said developer and walked with $250,000.
Nice.
Let's go.
But big like boy. That's big boy pants. Yeah, that was one. But I didn't know how to do any of that. I just like worked through step by step of all those things. But it's crazy because now that I know what I'm looking for, it comes up often. Like inheritance, probate, you get a shot at buying something that maybe hasn't been for sale ever, or 50 years or 75 years. And so you get some of these unicorn properties that are like very under assessed or under monetized for what they could be, and there's big development plays, so I think that's what I get most excited about. We're in the middle of 3 flips right now. I just closed on one earlier this week, and like they're fun. It's like this, it's a flash in the pan, but I like those bigger, kind of redevelopment plays.
Yeah, and there's so much opportunity there, but it's like being experienced enough to know, or like networking and connecting yourself with those types of people that can help you do those deals, like having that end buyer to get that best use case. Because like what you could buy those for to just flip them, that doesn't make sense. Like, but because of seeing the bigger picture and doing that work and faking it till you make it, essentially.
That is it.
Yeah, that's no, that's amazing.
Is that your biggest deal to date, Micah?
Biggest wholesale. I mean, because technically I wholesaled that. No, I mean, I've had a couple multiple 6-figure deals. Like I bought a 12-plex right before COVID, right when everyone thought the world was ending, before the real estate market like went nuts. I bought this 12-plex for $300,000. It grossed over 10K, and I closed on it. And I wanted to just hold it. And then I had it, appraised after I bought it, and like its cap rate, just kind of the commercial valuation, was over 700K. So like, just on that deal, I'm making 400K. Not, it's on paper, but still, like, that's the power of real estate. And like, once you see it, you can't unsee it, and then you become obsessed with the chase. It's so fun. Gets me right up. Super.
I think in past years, like buy and holds have really been, it's been like the cash flow play. But like, I mean, the appreciation is really where it's coming from. And like, stuff doesn't cash flow now, but like those deals aren't as available. They're still out there. You could burr properties, but like there's nowhere near like 2018, 19, and then like right when COVID hit. So like having that mindset reset for those,
here's my thought on that, is that they're out there, but like the kind of the final frontier is all the little rural towns that no one thinks to go into. Like I just bought a place it was like 6 months ago. I paid 200K and gross rents were over 6K, and like I think I make like $3,000 a month cash flow on this property, but I refinanced it and got an extra, 75K out, still cash flows, and I got all my money out plus some. And to me, like, if you're going into markets where, I'm not even talking tertiary markets, I'm talking about little towns that have these stable economies and work, you can find those kind of unicorn deals out there still.
When you're looking at these smaller rural towns, because I made a mistake, like, but the first couple of properties I bought were too far. Like I was in Indianapolis, bought too far outside, thinking Indianapolis was like LA, where it's like 45 minutes is still like a bustling city, but like that could have been like friggin' another state, like Illinois, like comparatively. So what do you, when you're looking at these smaller towns, how do you avoid the mistake of just buying in an area that like it's cheap but nothing's going on?
Well, when you say nothing's going, like, what was your exit? Were you planning on holding them? Were you trying to flip?
Yeah, so like on paper, the rents were great. It was like infinite return kind of thing with pulling the money out, but just the tenant pool there, like the property management company was right behind like 6 units that I had, but it was like it was meth, it was drugs, it was guns, like it was just a cycle turn. And it was right across the river from Ball State University too, so I was like, even that should have been fine. But
well, I mean, certainly crime, violence, you should always consider that. Mm-hmm. And
I didn't. That was my second.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And like, yeah, you wouldn't know. I was like, whatever. Like, God, I lost $100,000 last year on a flip that flooded twice, and I had term insurance, and I didn't know that my term insurance had expired until I was like literally at the closing table. They were doing their final walkthrough, and there's like a waterfall coming through the kitchen.
Oh, lovely.
And I was like, oh, guess I don't have insurance on that one. Anyway, that sucked. It happens. We all like real estate is fraught with drama, and that's partly why I love it too. But so you don't know until you know. But yeah, certainly crime, a stabilized-ish economy. Like, you can look at general micro economic trends through that area. Like, what's that? The main one, citydata.com, kind of gives you an idea. It's like, okay, is it growing? Is it declining? All those things, and you can kind of see specific inputs for that area and it's pretty hyper targeted. And I would say probably Wisconsin, because kind of you mentioned people just love their yards here. That is actually, that riffs on, I think, what makes part of it really good for even these small little markets. Like, people in general care. There's not as many meth heads, or there's not as many problems in Wisconsin. I don't think that you would find in the parts of Florida or other kind of more. I'm struggling to find quite the right word, but I think everyone understands.
Suburbs of big city. Like, I think that's where some of it, and like economy is good. But yeah, check. And honestly, like the biggest thing, because I invested all this out of state, like visiting the market, going, like, buy a plane ticket, go check it out. Like, that gives you a really good idea of like, oh, and now I know why this is $20,000.
Your eyes will tell you. Yeah, like just buying something totally blind, you're like, oh, that's gonna be amazing. Yeah, having personal
25, it's gonna be great.
Exactly,
that's what I thought.
Exactly. That reminds me, I was hiring an acquisition guy for my real estate business, and he wrote, I don't want to work hard and I want lots of money. That was his response to the application. I was like that's like all beginning real estate entrepreneurs, until you realize that, like, wait, it takes some not a crazy amount, but some, and you have to work hard and you have to be able to take the punches. But I was like, oh man, this guy.
Isn't that what we all want? Like,
it is like,
I don't say it out loud because I'm not a psycho.
Exactly, and I don't tell potential future employers that. Anyway.
Hey, I think I'm gonna call Sherrod after this and be like, you know what, Sherrod, I've been thinking.
Conference event. Let's go. Yeah. Micah brought up a great point, Sherrod.
Yeah.
We need to make a lot of money and not.
But we don't really want to work.
You guys need to unionize and strike right now.
Yeah.
We'll take after Starbucks. Like, we'll do our thing, man. Amazing.
I love that. Hey, so Micah, if people want to consistently close deals from like probate inheritance type leads, can you give us like 2 to 3 non-negotiables that they have to have dialed in?
Sure. Yeah. First, and I've rattled on this about a lot. Just like just care. Just like that really is
a decent human being.
Yeah.
Check.
Totally. And then the next is follow up. It takes a long time. Like, probate, inheritance, they've just lost something that's irreplaceable. And like, some people, like, whatever, they hated that person, and that's different. But in general, like, we all feel the same way about death. It makes us sad. It's hard. It clogs up decision making. Like we don't know exactly what to do, and it takes time to unravel all that. So follow up really is consistent, and if you can do that with trust building exercises that make these people feel like you care, like you're just going to consistently build strength on that relationship and go and be more significant with that person. And I think the other, last thing is like, be unique. It's like earlier I was talking about direct mail, and so many people in our industry are just like, I'm going to just send direct mail. It's like, okay, great. And the first thing they do is like, all right, how can I get the cheapest cost per piece possible? And so they go through and they price shop everything, and they're like, oh yeah, no, here we go. This is 23 cents for a postcard. I'm just gonna win. And that's a fine concept, and you can win it. Marketing is a numbers game, but direct mail and those costs does not account for the fact that we all have this like hidden pattern that we do. We go out to the mailbox, we look at our mail, we're like, junk. Oh, what's this? And if you can be that person that has a someone else, pause and say, what's this? Do you think you're going to make less or more money? Like, that's what we want. That's what marketing is. Like, have people pause, interpret your message, and, take action on it. So the more that we can do that, the better, right? Theoretically. Anyway, that's in direct opposition to finding the cheapest thing usually. So I would recommend figure out a way, doesn't matter, like handwritten. Handwritten is the best form of direct mail there is. I don't care, what all those mass printers say. That is going to make you and help you get more money and more deals every time. Just show up in a unique way. Maybe you put $1 in the letter. Maybe you have a quarter in there, so it's kind of 3D, and they're like, what the heck is in here? I don't know. Like, inspire some curiosity to get someone to focus on what you want them to. So I would say show up in a different way, follow up, and be a good person.
I like that you brought up the price and like the quality of the mail, because also with entrepreneurship, it is a competition, like whether you want to like view it like that or not. And someone else, like, do you think other people have more money than you to spend on marketing? The answer is always going to be yes. And so, like, how do you make yourself different and stand out from the people that are just like machine gunning mail, these bigger shops, like especially like the bigger markets too? Like Southern California, I mean, people are spending lots of money in marketing here because they know the returns are so big. So if you're like a smaller fish in this pond, you got to be different versus like you're never going to win the volume advice. So, but I'm glad you brought that up. With the market shifting of the last couple of years, are you seeing changes in seller motivation or deal structure in the probate space?
I mean, actually, it's been our volume has grown personally, and just in our area. Like we've just amped up. It seems like a lot of the kind of would be wholesalers, people are just like starting or like aren't really dedicated. They're dropping out, and because it's getting harder. Like, you're constantly disappointing homeowners right now because we're all bracing for a declining market, and they're still hoping for COVID highs. And so anytime you're pitching a price that makes sense for an acquisition, if you're going to take it on your books or wholesale or whatever, it's pretty disappointing for most homeowners right now, unless they're a lay down lead. And so I think that in general, the volume is up, but it takes kind of more negotiating and emotional navigations that are uncomfortable.
Awesome.
Interesting. You mentioned that one of your pet peeves is flaky wholesalers. What?
Totally.
Yeah. What totally. What mistakes do these flaky wholesalers make to sour their reputations up?
Well, they're just usually not truth tellers. So they're like hiding under this guise of like, I'm selling the property, but it's to my partner, but I'm really assigning it. And they don't tell the whole picture. And they're like, they're just trying to make a quick dollar and keep everyone in the blind. And they're really selfish around information that they, as maybe an end buyer, I really need. So like, I buy properties from wholesalers. That's fine. But I actually do a good amount of business by cleaning up wholesalers' messes and closing them because they can't figure out how to get deal done. When literally my money is waiting on the sidelines, like, yeah, I'll pay for this, but like they can't kind of work through those problems. So in that sense, I like them because usually my margins are better when I can buy and the wholesaler isn't part of the picture anymore. I think mostly it's just an ethical thing. They come in, they're just trying to make a quick dollar. It's not really about helping or solving. There's no longevity in it, and they usually are pretty shifty. And that it for me isn't kind of a business that I want to build, and something that I'm not comfortable like laying down at night. Like, that doesn't end up feeling good to me.
Yeah, no, I feel you. That's one of my biggest pet peeves too, is people that just are not transparent, and you can kind of sniff it from like a mile away too.
Yeah,
like you just kind of know when somebody is just not showing you their full deck. But yeah, it's a shame though, because like we've been talking about this whole hour, these people really do have problems that need to be solved, and chances are a wholesaler can help them solve it, but it has to be the right, honest, ethical wholesaler to solve it. So then people get a bad taste in their mouth. Okay, we like to ask some like kind of rapid fire fun questions before we close out the show.
Okay, I'm bracing myself.
Yeah, you should. You definitely should. So, quick one. What's your favorite soccer team? And are your kids forced to root for them, or do they get to actually pick something different?
That is a great question, and I don't have one. I just am in constant. Seriously, I'm in constant pursuit of good soccer. So, like, I loved Man City for the last, I don't know, 3 seasons. Now they kind of suck. Like, I just love watching. This like just totally vibes on just who I am as a person. But like, a good soccer team it has nothing to do with an individual. They're all self-sacrificing for something bigger than themselves, which is the team. And 11 players can play that are all self-sacrificing way better than any kind of all-star team. And so I just like witnessing when people, it's not about me, it's about something bigger than me. And that's what I'm constantly chasing. I really, really enjoy trying to find that. And so my kids, they don't care. They're like, right now they're in the Lamine Mall. They think Barca's awesome because he's a 17-year-old wonder kid that can, put it in the back of the net and juke anyone out.
That's amazing.
Did you play soccer like growing up?
Are you a little? Yeah, no, I did. I did play soccer. I play way more soccer now than I ever did. So I broke my ankle like 15 years ago. And I got really fat. I was like sitting on the couch. My life sucked. I'm like, God, I need to do something.
FIFA.
And so,
just kidding.
Awesome. So I was sitting on the couch and I'm like, I'm going to go play pickup soccer. As soon as my ankle got better, I started playing. And I just got bit by the bug. And I'm like, this is my game now. So I play soccer probably 3 to 4 times a week. I coach my younger son on his club team, and it's a socially acceptable obsession.
Interesting.
As a Midwest soccer fan, but also like your kids play, have you seen the movie Kicking and Screaming?
No.
Oh my gosh. It's my favorite movie. Again, growing up in Chicago, it's based in the Chicago suburbs. It's Will Ferrell. It's Robert Duvall. Mike Ditka's in it. It's amazing. You need to.
How do I not know about this?
No, it's like it was such a sleeper movie in like 2004. 2005. My family and I quote that like all the time. Like there's the whole. I won't get into the whole thing, but when you talk about like it's 11 players, not a team, the whole thing is like their team sucks. They go to the local butcher shop and pick up 2 Italians. So it's all like pass the ball to the Italians. Solo mi Italiano. And Will Ferrell is fantastic, but you need to watch that. It is 100% like Chicago suburb junior soccer. These kids are 11.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
All right, I'm gonna check it out. Based on its IMDb score, I never would have watched this, but I'm gonna give it a try because of you.
You should, please.
What's the score? I'm dying to know. Like
it's 5.6 out of 10.
Okay.
Like my threshold is like 6. Comedy can be lower, but okay.
This is one where the critics got it wrong. Like this is because it hits so close to home. Just being a Midwest totally. Junior soccer, you'll love it.
What are these outfits he's wearing? Oh my god!
I hate soccer, and honestly,
you would still enjoy it.
I have to say why though. So like in elementary school, whenever like you'd play soccer on in PE or recess or whatever. This is no lie. I legit got nailed in the head every single freaking time that I would
Oh,
play.
no.
So I'm just like, F this game because I'm always getting nailed in the head. So yeah,
My wife
soccer-
shares those values. She got peer pressured into playing soccer in high school. She went to one practice. The first practice was header drills. She's like, I'm not gonna. And they're all like,
This is horrible.
Like, this
what are we
sucks.
doing here?
We go back to softball. Oh, man.
Yeah, not a soccer fan. So
That's fair.
yeah. But so Micah, if we were to drop you into a pickup soccer game with a bunch of other investors, are you the one that's running the field? Are you the one that's coaching everyone? Or are you the one that's talking trash? Or all three?
Oh, yeah, all three depends on the moment, for sure. But in general, I would put myself in I'm the playmaker. I'm not the finisher. I like coordinating the field and creating the opportunity. I don't need to put it in the net, but orchestrating it and like a good pass is oftentimes better than a goal. I don't know if you guys can relate. Like setting it all up, putting the chess pieces together is more satisfying than like even the end result.
Scottie Pippen to the Michael Jordan kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I was super into FIFA in high school. Barca and Man U were my two teams that I would always play. And I can't remember like Messi's like setup guy, but
Who was Messi's setup guy? I don't know. He was his own setup guy.
dude,
Who cares?
That man.
I'm just
That
kidding.
man.
get the ball, the
That man was
Italians.
insane. Exactly.
He was the Italian. Oh man. And finally, a question that we've started asking every guest.
This is the best.
It's super random, but how do you cook your steak? I have a Wisconsin version to that too. But how do you cook your steak?
Depends what steak it is.
Okay.
What
All
steak
right.
are we talking here,
What's-
guys?
Break it
What's
down.
your ideal steak? Are we talking like a ribeye, or you like some a little tougher, needs a little more time to marinate, stuff like that?
So, the backstory here: I own a herd of Wagyu cattle. I used to, I have a farm. I live on 100 acres.
That's
I used to
awesome.
have hundreds of pigs on my farm. I'm very much into cuisine. Okay, so starting with ribeyes, hands down favorite cut, but I actually like it medium, almost closer to medium well because it's too chewy if it's medium rare. So that's personal preference. Otherwise, tenderloin, New York strip, basically anywhere else, I'll take that medium rare all day. Hanging tender though is probably my favorite cut. Also medium rare.
Hanging
And-
tender. I haven't.
What is that?
That's when you have the whole cow. Like that's.
Yeah, it is like, yeah, they normally toss that and grind it up actually, but it's one of the most, it's super well marbled. There's this like one little section in the center you have to carve out, but I think it's like kind of internal. It's close to the tenderloin, but not, and it is delicious. So it's like, I think there's only one steak on the whole animal, but they call it the hanging tender.
Interesting.
There we go.
Have you ever had a chuck eye?
Absolutely. I grew up on chuck eye.
I
That
love
was like
chuck
my
eyes.
dad's favorite steak. Oh, man,
Yeah,
you're gonna
I
make
mean
me
it's
cry.
basically like the opposite side of the ribeye, but I like them because like sometimes like ribeyes can be big and like kind of
Yeah.
a lot to finish. So like the chuck eyes, like they're just
Well,
good size,
they're
and
so
way
well.
cheaper.
They're way cheaper. They're so well marbled, and they
Yeah.
cook up similarly. Yeah,
They
big fan
do,
of chuck eye.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I have to say that's almost criminal that you don't do your ribeye medium rare. Just saying.
I'm just like, I think it needs more time. I like, especially with Wagyu, like to get more of that fat rendered out of the steak. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
All right.
he's cooking with something different. This is a man
Yeah.
who raises cattle, so I'll
Yeah.
defer for that stuff. But
Yeah.
Also, just
Grocery store ribeye though, that needs to be just medium rare.
Wisconsin special question. What is your favorite Wisconsin beer? As a land known for their beers.
That is a good question. I stopped drinking beer entirely, almost. But I used to work at a brewery. I loved beer forever. I thought I was going to be a brewer for a long time. And I would have to say that my favorite beer, God, it depends on the day. Night Train by Central Waters. Is it Central Waters?
Oh, we're
It's like
talking like
it's a
independent brewery,
yeah,
like
totally.
local spot.
It's small. Yeah, that's an awesome stout that I really enjoy when I'm trout fishing on the stream. It's like gets up to 50 degrees and you're drinking this warm stout. Oh my God, it's amazing.
You wonderful
Otherwise,
Wisconsin man, you got it.
Yeah.
You had to sneak in fishing there somewhere.
I had to. It was the right thing to do.
Absolutely. Amazing. Well, Micah, dude, thank you so much for spending your time with us, talking about probate leads, helping our listeners just get better. I mean, at the end of the day, like just doing what you say you're going to do and having that empathetic heart to help the seller at the end of the day, money will always come. But if you focus on that, that's going to be the main piece. So really happy that we were able to go through that stuff. And where can people find you, Micah?
Facebook is pretty good. I'm awful on social. I'll just be honest. But reach out to me on Facebook. That's where I'm most active. Otherwise, if y'all want to kind of take my blueprint of how I treat people around inheritance and in this scenario, I kind of put together a guide. It's free. I'll charge you your email address. So if y'all want to go to inheritancelead.com, type that in, it's just the opt-in page, but I'll send you the guide. It's super helpful, handy, and it just kind of gives you a good framework to operate on how to make the most of that situation and how I think it's best to tactfully insert yourself and start those conversations.
That's amazing. What a give.
Yeah, we can throw that in the show notes too. So, guys, if you're listening, you could just check in the description. We'll have that for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Micah, thank you so much for coming on and keeping it real with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are amazing. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Micah. And as always, guys, thank you for turning into a Real Talk with REsimpli. If you guys find value, share with someone who needs to hear this. We're on again all the YouTubes and podcasts.
Anywhere
streaming.
You can find your
anywhere you
podcast.
listen. Anywhere you listen, guys.
Yeah. And until next time, guys, keep it real.
Peace.
Peace.